Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The early morning light barely touched Genoa City when Nick Newman's world was ripped apart. The sound of his phone ringing cut through the stillness like a blade, but what followed was far worse, something that would freeze his blood and steal the air from his lungs. He had spent the night pacing his living room, waiting for Noah to return home. His son had gone out to clear his head after another explosive argument with him over Sienna Bacall. Hours passed. Midnight bled into morning. Sharon had called 3 times asking if Noah was back. He wasn't. By sunrise, Nick's gut told him something was very wrong. Then came that call. That voice. The one man he prayed was gone for good. Matt Clark. Nick's hand trembled as he lifted the phone to his ear, the familiar growl of Matt's voice slithering through the line like venom. "You'll never see him again," Matt hissed, his tone dark and deliberate. "Check your phone, Nick." For a moment, Nick couldn't move. His heart thundered in his chest as if trying to break free. He could hear faint background noises, chains rattling, maybe muffled cries. And then the call disconnected. Silence. Cold, merciless silence. Seconds later, his phone buzzed again, this time with a text message. Nick opened it, and his stomach dropped. It was a photo. Noah, bound, gagged, terrified. The timestamp showed it had been taken minutes earlier. Beneath it, Matt had written, "You take one step toward me, and you'll never find the body." No. Nick roared, throwing the phone across the room. It shattered against the wall, but the image burned into his brain wouldn't go away. His knees buckled, and he collapsed to the floor, clutching his chest as the realization hit, Noah wasn't missing by accident. He had been taken. Kidnapped. And Matt was behind it. The same man who had tormented his family decades ago had returned, more ruthless than ever. Nick's breathing quickened, rage and fear battling inside him. He wanted to tear the world apart to find his son. But first, he needed to think. Matt's games were never random. Every move had meaning. Every threat had purpose. And if Matt had Noah, it meant he wanted something. Across town, Sharon's phone rang. When she heard Nick's broken voice whisper, "He's gone," her world stopped. She raced to the Newman ranch, tears streaming down her face, every horrific scenario flashing through her mind. By the time she arrived, Nick was already on the floor surrounded by shards of his destroyed phone, his eyes hollow with terror. "He called me," Nick said, his voice hoarse. "It was Matt. He has Noah." Sharon gasped, covering her mouth, shaking her head in disbelief. "That's impossible, Matt's dead," she cried. But Nick's expression said otherwise. "I heard him, Sharon. I know that voice." Victoria soon arrived after Sharon called her, her concern shifting to alarm as she pieced together the horror unfolding in front of her. "You're telling me Matt Clark kidnapped Noah?" After all these years, she demanded, though deep down, part of her already believed it. Too many things had been strange lately, Sienna's nervous behavior, the mysterious break-in at the hospital, and the whispers that Mitch Bacall wasn't who he said he was. Now it all made sense. Matt never died. He had been hiding in plain sight, wearing another man's face. Meanwhile, Nick tried to regain control, calling Chance Chancellor for help. Within minutes, the GCPD was at his door, taking statements, tracing calls, trying to locate Noah's phone signal. But Matt was always one step ahead. He had wiped the trail clean. The text had been sent through a masked number, bouncing through multiple networks before reaching Nick's phone. "He planned this," Nick muttered bitterly, pacing like a caged animal. "He wanted to hurt me, to destroy me the way he couldn't before." Chance placed a hand on his shoulder. "We'll find him, Nick. I promise." But promises meant nothing to a father who'd just seen his son's terrified face in a photo. Hours turned into an agonizing blur. Sharon sat on the couch, sobbing quietly as she replayed every recent interaction with Noah, wondering if she'd missed a sign. He said he was just going to the studio, she whispered. He sounded fine. Nick clenched his fists, his jaw trembling. Matt's been watching us. He knew where Noah would be, when to strike. And as those words left his mouth, something darker dawned on him. He didn't just want Noah. He wanted me to feel this. Then, another phone rang. This time, it was the landline, a number few even knew. Nick's eyes darted to it, his pulse quickening. Don't, Sharon warned. But Nick answered anyway. Where is he? He demanded. Matt chuckled, low and menacing. You really should calm down, Nicky boy. You wouldn't want your temper to cost your son his life. Nick gritted his teeth. If you hurt him, if? Matt interrupted. Nick. You don't get it. This isn't about hurting him. It's about teaching you. You took everything from me once. My life, my identity, my future. Now I'm taking what matters most to you. Why, Matt? Nick shouted. What do you want? The voice on the other end paused before whispering, redemption. Then the call disconnected again. Nick stared at the phone, trembling, his knuckles white. Redemption, he repeated, his voice breaking. Sharon clutched his arm, terrified by the emptiness in his eyes. He's playing with you, she said softly. But Nick wasn't listening anymore. He was already somewhere else, inside his own head, reliving every confrontation, every time he thought Matt was finally gone for good. He's alive, Nick muttered. He's alive, and he's coming for us. As night fell, Genoa City seemed to hold its breath. Police cars patrolled every corner, helicopters circled overhead, and Nick refused to rest. He combed through Noah's laptop, text messages, GPS data, anything that could lead him to his son. Then, while scrolling through Noah's recent messages, he found one that made his blood run cold. An unknown number. A message timestamped just before Noah vanished, meet me at the old pier. Come alone. It's about Sienna. Nick's stomach turned. He lured him, he said through gritted teeth. Matt used Sienna to bait him. Sharon looked up sharply. Do you think Sienna's involved? She asked, hesitant. Nick hesitated. I don't know. But she's the key. He stormed out before Sharon could stop him, determined to confront her. When he arrived at Sienna's apartment, she opened the door with tears in her eyes. Nick, I didn't know, please, you have to believe me, she cried. He told me if I didn't help, he'd kill Noah and me both. Nick's fury melted into confusion and dread. What did he make you do? He demanded. Sienna's voice broke as she confessed, he made me text Noah. Told me to bring him to the pier. I thought it was just to talk, Matt said he wanted to explain everything. But when we got there, Noah told me to leave, and then he was gone. I ran. I didn't look back. She covered her face, sobbing. I didn't know he'd take him. Nick's heart clenched, torn between rage and helplessness. Where is he keeping him? He asked desperately. Did he say anything? Sienna shook her head, but then hesitated. He said something weird before I left. He said, tell Nick the past always repeats itself. Nick froze. Those words weren't random, they were a taunt. The same phrase Matt had used years ago before faking his death. He's reliving it, Nick realized. He's trying to rewrite the past, with Noah as the victim this time. Back at the ranch, Chance called with an update. We traced part of the call. It came from the outskirts near the abandoned steel factory, the same place Matt Clark nearly died years ago. Nick didn't wait for backup. He grabbed his coat and keys, ignoring Sharon's pleas. If Matt wants me, he's gonna get me, Nick growled. He drove through the dark, rain-slicked streets, headlights cutting through the fog. Every mile felt heavier, his chest tight with fear and fury. When he reached the factory, the air was thick with silence. Nick's flashlight beam cut across rusted beams and shattered glass. Then, faintly, he heard it, a muffled sound. A voice. "Dad," his breath caught. "Noah," he called. The voice was faint but real. "Dad, help me." Nick ran toward the sound, heart pounding. He found a locked door and kicked it open. Inside, tied to a chair, bruised and shaking, was Noah. "Oh my God," Nick whispered, rushing to untie him. "It's okay, son, I've got you." But then a slow clap echoed through the shadows. Nick froze, spinning around. Matt stepped out from the darkness, smirking. "Touching reunion, isn't it?" His face was twisted with glee. "You should have stayed out of it, Nick." Nick shielded Noah, his voice shaking with fury. "You want me? Here I am." "Let him go." Matt chuckled, circling them. "You always were the hero, weren't you? But heroes never win. Not in my story." Nick lunged, tackling Matt to the ground. The two men fought viciously, years of hatred exploding in brutal punches and screams. "You ruined my life," Matt shouted. "You destroyed everything I had." Nick roared back, "You did that to yourself." The fight ended when Matt grabbed a metal rod and swung it, but Nick ducked, slamming him into a wall. Matt fell, blood trickling from his temple. "It's over," Nick growled. Matt laughed weakly. "You think so? Check your phone." Nick's heart stopped. He slowly picked up his phone, opening a new message that had just arrived. A live feed flickered to life, Sienna, bound in a different location, crying for help. Matt's voice echoed faintly from the video. "Did you really think it was just one hostage?" Nick's world tilted. The horror wasn't over. Matt hadn't just come for Noah, he had come for everyone Nick loved. The screen froze on Sienna's terrified face, and the text below read, "Round 2 starts now." Nick dropped to his knees, tears burning his eyes as the reality sank in. Matt was still in control. Noah was safe for now, but the game was far from over. As police sirens approached, Nick whispered through clenched teeth, "I'll find you, Matt. And when I do, I'll end this once and for all." But somewhere in the shadows, Matt Clark was already smiling, his voice echoing through the night. "You'll never see her again." And just like that, Genoa City descended into another nightmare, where the sins of the past refused to stay buried, and Nick Newman faced the terrifying truth. The devil he thought he buried had come back, and this time, he wasn't leaving without destroying everything Nick loved. The cold November wind howled across the outskirts of Genoa City as flashing police lights painted the steel factory walls red and blue. Nick Newman stood near the crumbling entrance, soaked in sweat and rain, staring blankly at the screen of his phone. The live feed showing Sienna Bacall tied and trembling had vanished minutes ago, cut off mid-scream. His breathing came in shallow bursts as the weight of Matt's newest threat pressed down on him like a vice. Chance Chancellor barked orders at the officers fanning out through the property, but Nick barely heard him. His mind was still spinning with Matt's final words before disappearing into the darkness. "Round 2 starts now." Noah sat wrapped in a blanket nearby, his face pale and bruised, the haunted look in his eyes cutting straight through Nick's heart. He wanted to grab his son and never let go, but even that simple comfort felt impossible while Sienna was still in danger. Noah looked up at him finally and whispered, "Dad," he said something before he left. "He said you'd never stop paying for what you did." Nick froze. "What I did," he repeated. Noah nodded weakly. "He said you were the reason he became this way. That you took something from him, and now he's taking everything from you." Nick's jaw tightened as he crouched in front of his son. "You listen to me, Noah. None of this is your fault. Matt's been obsessed with revenge since the day he came into our lives. He blames me for things that happened decades ago." His voice cracked under the weight of the memories. "But I'm the one who should have made sure he stayed gone. I let my guard down, and now he's hurting you because of it." Chance approached them, his face grim. "We've got a partial trace on the live feed. It came from an industrial park near Route 41, about 10 miles east of here. But it's a big area with dozens of abandoned buildings." Nick immediately stood up, determination flashing in his eyes. Then that's where I'm going. Chance grabbed his arm. Nick, stop. You're too emotional. We'll handle it. Nick wrenched free. No, you won't. You don't understand him the way I do. Matt's not going to kill her right away, he wants to draw this out, make me suffer. I know his pattern. The rain intensified, thunder rumbling in the distance as Nick stormed toward his car. Sharon ran up just as he reached the driver's side door, her face streaked with tears. Nick, please, you can't go after him alone, she cried, grabbing his arm. You just got Noah back. Let the police handle this. Nick turned to her, eyes wild and red-rimmed. You think I can sit at home while Matt tortures another person I care about? Sharon, this is on me. He's coming after everyone connected to me, first Noah, now Sienna. Who's next? You? For a moment, Sharon saw the broken man beneath the fury, the terrified father who'd already lost too much. She swallowed hard. Then let me come with you, she whispered. Nick shook his head. No. If anything happens to you, I'm not asking, she interrupted, her voice trembling but firm. If Matt's going to keep coming after our family, then we face him together. Nick hesitated but finally nodded, knowing she was right. He needed her strength just as much as she needed to know their son was truly safe. As they drove through the storm, the city lights faded behind them. The GPS pinged faintly with Chance's latest update, coordinates pointing to a remote stretch of land near the abandoned freight depot. The closer they got, the stronger Nick's gut twisted. He could feel Matt's presence there, like a shadow breathing down his neck. Meanwhile, inside an old storage warehouse by the tracks, Sienna Bacall trembled in her chair, wrists raw from the ropes that bound her. Her mind replayed every moment that led her here, her lies, her affair with Noah, her manipulation of everyone around her. And now, her past had caught up to her in the cruelest way possible. Matt paced slowly in front of her, his expression disturbingly calm. You see, Sienna, this isn't about you, he said softly. You're just a means to an end. A reminder to Nick that every bad choice comes with a price. Sienna's voice shook. He'll find me. Nick will come for me, and when he does, you're dead. Matt smiled, tilting his head. Oh, I hope he comes. That's the whole point. You don't get it yet, do you? This isn't just revenge, it's justice. Nick took my life from me years ago. He destroyed everything I built, turned me into a monster in the eyes of everyone. So now I'm going to make him watch while I take his family apart, piece by piece. He leaned close, his breath icy against her skin. And when he finally breaks, when he begs me to end it, maybe I'll let him live just long enough to remember what it feels like to lose everything. Sienna closed her eyes, praying for a miracle. Back on the road, Sharon gripped the dashboard as the car hit another sharp turn. Nick, slow down, she pleaded, but Nick's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. He's out there playing God with our lives, Sharon. I won't let him win. His voice cracked, filled with years of anger and pain. Every time I think we're free of him, he crawls back out of the dark. Not this time. The GPS chimed again, destination ahead. The warehouse loomed through the downpour, its windows black and shattered, the perfect hiding place for a madman. Nick killed the engine and reached under the seat, pulling out a small handgun he kept locked away for emergencies. Sharon's eyes widened. Nick, no. You can't just go in there shooting. If it's between him and Sienna, Nick growled, I'll do what I have to. They slipped through the side entrance, flashlights cutting through the dark. The faint sound of a chain scraping across concrete echoed from deep within the building. Sienna? Sharon whispered. No answer. Only the hum of the rain and distant thunder. Nick motioned for her to stay behind as he crept forward. Then, a voice came from the shadows, smooth, mocking. Welcome back, Nick. You really can't stay away from me, can you? Matt stepped into the light, holding a gun of his own, a twisted smile on his face. Behind him, Sienna was tied to a chair, her eyes wide with terror. Let her go, Nick demanded. It's me you want. Matt chuckled darkly. Oh, I intend to. But first, I want you to understand something. You've lived your life pretending to be the hero, Mr. Moral Compass, the family protector. But look around, Nick. Everyone you touch falls apart. Your marriages. Your kids. Even Sienna here, just another casualty of your chaos. Shut up, Nick spat, stepping closer. You're not some avenging angel, Matt, you're a coward who hides behind other people's pain. Matt's smile faltered for the first time, his eyes flashing with rage. You think I don't know pain? You think I don't remember what it's like to have your face burned, your name erased, your entire life destroyed because of you? He aimed the gun at Nick's chest. You made me this way. Nick didn't flinch. No. You made yourself this way. You could have started over, but you chose hate. You chose this. The tension crackled like lightning between them. Sharon, hidden behind a support beam, inched closer to Sienna, carefully cutting the ropes with a pocketknife she'd grabbed from the car. Sienna's eyes darted toward her, silently pleading for help. Nick noticed the movement and subtly positioned himself to distract Matt. Tell me something, Nick said. If you hate me so much, why keep me alive? Why not just kill me and be done with it? Matt smirked. Because death's too easy. I want you to feel it. To watch as I erase everything that matters to you. When you finally beg for it to end, then, maybe, I'll consider giving you mercy. Sharon cut the last rope. Run, she whispered to Sienna. But before Sienna could move, Matt heard the faint scrape of rope hitting the floor. He turned sharply. Nice try, he snarled, firing a shot that grazed Sienna's arm. She screamed, collapsing against the chair. Nick lunged, tackling Matt as the gun clattered across the floor. The two men fought brutally, slamming into walls and broken machinery. Every punch carried years of hatred. Every shout echoed through the building like thunder. Sharon crawled to Sienna, pressing her jacket against the wound. You're okay, she whispered, even as tears streamed down her face. You're going to be okay. Meanwhile, Nick and Matt crashed through a metal railing, both tumbling to the lower level. Matt landed hard, but he still managed to grab a shard of broken glass, slashing at Nick's arm. You can't stop me, he screamed. Nick, fueled by fury and adrenaline, struck back, pinning him to the ground. You're done, Matt. It's over. But Matt only laughed, blood trickling from his mouth. Over? This is just the beginning. He reached into his pocket and pressed a small detonator. A series of beeps echoed through the building, followed by a deafening blast as an explosion ripped through one of the side walls. Sharon screamed as flames burst upward, smoke filling the air. Nick grabbed Matt by the collar. What did you do? Matt grinned through the chaos. You'll find out soon enough. Nick punched him hard, knocking him unconscious before dragging him toward the exit. Sharon. Get out, he shouted. Through the smoke, Sharon held